Pack it up, pack it in. Let us begin. Coming to you live from Studio 6 here in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. It's time for another edition of Inside the Inferno. I'm AJ Gonzalez, joined alongside by Cash Versailles. And Cash, I've got to tell you, it's Friday Fun Day, but when we talk Sun Devil sports, it really is the highlight of my week.
That's right, AJ, with the maroon and gold having success all throughout athletics, most notably through basketball, baseball, and softball. We've got a lot to talk about on today's rendition of Inside the Inferno.
Well, and indeed we do. Well, I'm a big fan of traditions, and frankly, they run deep here in the Valley with Sun Devil athletics. And here on Inside the Inferno, we have our own traditions, like the Sun Devil 6, and it's finally back. For this week's edition, here's our Tanner Buck.
Thanks, AJ. It is my pleasure to bring us into this week's edition of the Sun Devil 6. Starting us off on the baseball diamond is outfielder Landon Hairston, who launched a 413-foot grand slam in this landslide victory over UConn on Tuesday. The sophomore has 10 RBIs through 4 games. Diving in at number 5 is softball outfielder Kaylee Pond, who robs a base hit with a highlight reel catch against Toledo. The Cal transfer leads the team with 4 home runs this season. Running down to number 4 is men's basketball guard Noah Mayusin, raiding the Red Raiders' possession and assisting the fast break on the other end of the court. Launching this laser beam of a missile over the fence at number 3 is catcher Emily Shep, who delivered an eventual game-winning homer in the bottom of the 6th against Indiana. Staying at the diamond at number 2 is outfielder Tanya Windle's diving catch against Nevada in the 6th inning. The Sun Devils held on to win, thanks to another stellar defensive play. Rolling in at number 1 is women's basketball forward McKenna Bracken's dagger over 2 defenders at the top of the key against the Wildcats. ASU swept the season series against Arizona for the first time in 8 seasons. This wraps up this edition for the Sun Devil 6 as I toss back to AJ and Cash back at the desk.
Thank you, Tanner. Some very impressive performances from those Sun Devils, but perhaps the most impressive performance was of head coach Bobby Hurley's squad. ASU men's basketball upset number 13 ranked Texas Tech 72-67. Guard Mo Odom amassed 23 points in the winning effort, going 8 for 8 from the free throw line. The senior leads the team in points, assists, and steals this season. 3 weeks ago, Hurley addressed Sun Devil faithful for losing their home court advantage to a well-traveled Arizona team. After Tuesday's win, he had this to say.
It was a great atmosphere. It was electric atmosphere, and I think our guys fed off it, and it was very important at a number of different occasions in the second half where we needed to step up and make stops and make a big play. So certainly, especially for a 9 o'clock game, thought it was really good atmosphere.
This wouldn't be the first time a ranked Texas Tech team suffered a loss in Tempe. Sun Devil football handed the Red Raiders their first loss of the season this past October. Hurley went on to say he feels he can go toe-to-toe with anybody. With a new sense of confidence, ASU looks to improve its 5-8 conference record in the Big 12.
Staying on the hardwood, Hurley's group will hit the road this Saturday. They'll head to Waco, Texas to take on the Baylor Bears. Tip-off is slated for 2 p.m. local time, and you may be used to Baylor being a lock for March Madness and winning national titles. However, that has not been the case this season, as they hold a 13-13 record, and get this, a staggering 3-10 record in Big 12 play this season. The Bears are led by guard Cameron Carr, who is averaging 18.9 points per game, which ranks 6th in the Big 12.
Flipping on over to the women's side of things, Isabella Perez joins us in studio to break down head coach Molly Miller's team and the recent trip to Ames, Iowa to face the Cyclones.
Arizona State took on one of the nation's top scorers in Iowa State, center Audie Crux. The Sun Devils look to begin their momentum from their overtime victory against the rivals from down south. Forward McKenna Bracken scored 10 of their 15 points in the first quarter using her consistent short jumpers. Earlier in the week, Brackens was named to the Big 12 starting 5 as one of its top weekly performers. Brackens finished this game with 21 points and went 100% from beyond the arc. Guard Gabby Elliott contributed with 9 points, grabbing 7 rebounds and 3 assists. Guard Amaya Williams tied Elliott in points and went 100% from beyond the line. Arizona State fell behind in the third quarter, shooting 36% field goals and leading in turnovers. The Sun Devils showed weakness defending the paint, as that's where the Cyclones scored 44 of their 90 points. This marks the highest point total allowed by the Maroon and Gold this season. Heading into this matchup, both teams were tied in Big 12 play for 7th place. Following this loss, ASU is now tied for 8th between both Kansas State and Utah. Back to you, AJ, at the desk.
Well, Molly Miller and her squad, fresh off a SportsCenter appearance, will look to get back on the winning track as they take on Houston this Saturday at Desert Financial Arena. Tip-off is set for 2 p.m. local time. The Devils will ride in with a 21-7 record on the season and an 8-7 conference record. Meanwhile, it's been a rough stretch for Houston, as they have a 7-19 record on the season and are losers in 14 of its last 15 games. And now, heading to the ice as we welcome in our Emma Wakefield to discuss the Sun Devils. And Emma, thank you so much for joining us. The Sun Devils, not too hot though, 5-game losing streak. What's next for this team?
Yeah, although they've struggled this past month, losing 7 of their last 8 contests, ASU still has a chance to make the NCHC playoffs as they take on the Omaha Mavericks for a 2-game home series this weekend. The current NCHC standings are what makes this a crucial matchup because Arizona State is 8th in the conference and only 1 point ahead of Omaha.
With all of that taken into account, what do the Devils need to do in order to achieve that playoff berth?
So playoff format is the same as last year where the top 8 teams qualify for the NCHC Frozen Face-Off. Since the Mavericks are nipping at their heels, it's important that the Sun Devils win at least 1 game in regulation this weekend. Their best path, of course, would be to sweep the series and secure all 6 points. But even if they don't, they still have a chance to keep their spot in the standings.
So let's say the Sun Devils lose both games this weekend. Do they still have a chance at that final playoff spot?
If Omaha secures a full 6 points, it's fairly unlikely ASU would clinch that final playoff spot. We should take into account that both teams still have 1 more series left after this. Although that's a tough matchup in itself for the Sun Devils as they face number 8 ranked Denver, who is 2nd place in the NCHC. All things considered, it'll no doubt be a dynamic battle for the last playoff spot. Game 1 of the series begins tonight at 7 o'clock local time, and teammates like senior captain Kyle Smolin are prepared for the fight.
We're still in it. Like, in spite of everything that's gone wrong, we're still in it. We still have a chance, and we just have to give it 100 every single day this week. And do everything we can to get 6 points. Like, we have to. Well, what an opportunity we have.
Thank you, Emma, for joining us and previewing Sun Devil hockey against Omaha with senior night on Saturday. It will be an entertaining weekend at Mullet Arena. On last week's show, I spoke about Arizona State softball pitcher Kenzie Brown's red-hot start to the season, and the momentum just keeps on building for her and manager Megan Bartlett's team. The Sun Devils currently sit at a 10-1 record following a sweep of Portland State, Indiana, and Pacific at the Littlewood Invitational, which saw the Maroon and Gold put on a show offensively. ASU swept Portland State in a 2-game series that finished with the Devils outscoring the Vikings 31-7. Sparky also run-ruled 2 teams, including a 20-2 rout over Portland State and an 8-0 shutout against the Pacific Tigers. Brown's 27 strikeouts over the weekend places her 3rd in the nation for Ks. Outfielder Kaylee Pond went 8 for 16 with 11 RBIs en route to a perfect performance in the tournament for Arizona State.
Softball, the talk of the town in Tempe. They currently hold a 9-game win streak, and they're going to be hosting the Sun Devil Classic. ASU takes on Michigan in its first game, and leading the way for the Wolverines so far has been a Phoenix native, Lauren Putz. She is currently batting .536 with 9 homers on the season. The Sun Devils will try to throw a counterpunch in the form of infielder Katie Chester, who's batting .546 on the season. The Maroon and Gold will play 5 games over the next 3 days, consisting of Michigan, Southern Utah, and New Mexico State.
It seems the recent trend in Tempe is the absolute dominance of bat and ball sports, and this extends to head coach Willie Bloomquist's baseball team. Sparky's squad has started the season at an unparalleled 4-0 with a sweep over Omaha to start the year and a 17-7 win over UConn. Omaha was outscored 24-11 in the 3-game set. Starting pitchers Cole Carlin, Colin Linder, and Jaden Alba combined for 2 earned runs over 13 1/3 innings pitched. The high-powered offensive display continued against UConn, where outfielder Landon Hairston hit a grand slam in the 5th inning. ASU also put up 8 runs in the 4th frame, and UConn scored 2 runs in each of the final 3 innings, but it came too little, too late. 41 runs have crossed the plate while hitting 10 home runs in 4 games for the Sun Devils at Phoenix Municipal Stadium.
The Sun Devils will continue its season-opening homestand, setting their sights on St. John's for a 3-game weekend series. Friday's first pitch is set for 6:35 p.m. local time. The Red Storm comes in cold, holding a 1-3 record after their season-opening tournament in Dillon, Florida. Cole Carlin gets his 2nd start on the bump for Bloomquist's squad coming up.
Well, AJ, with a fantastic week of ASU sports behind us and hopefully an even better one ahead of us, that'll unfortunately do it for another great edition of Inside the Inferno. It was a pleasure sharing the desk with you today.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more, Cash, and congratulations. You didn't do a good job in your first time on the show. You did a great job.
Thank you very much, AJ.
Yeah, and that's going to wrap it up for us here at Inferno Intel. Don't forget to follow us on X and Instagram at Inferno Intel, and check out our website at InfernoIntelMedia.com. For Cash Versailles and our entire crew behind the scenes, I'm AJ Gonçalves saying so long from Phoenix. Thank you for tuning in to Inside the Inferno.